Now, Matthew is a book that's filled with the idea of the kingdom of God. So as we go through this series, one of the most important things we'll do in messages and when you sit at home is take a watch of what the kingdom of God is. Because it's a dominant theme in Matthew that I think Christians underplay in our culture today. And we're going to be looking for that really strongly. We'll be on a kingdom watch. Matthew, in overt ways and covert ways, brings this up again and again and again. And the question that's behind the backdrop of all of this is, will you acknowledge Jesus as your king? Will you bow to the king? Will you follow the king? Will you worship the king? Will you be a part of his kingdom and change the world through his kingdom? And I think one of the most important questions we have to ask is, are you ready for the king? I mean, that's the kind of question during the Christmas season that you should be asking all the time anyway, right? Am I ready for the king? Because all of this ramp up from Thanksgiving to Christmas is a ramp up asking the question, are you ready for the king? And in our lives, and as we read Matthew, we should just be asking ourselves that question, because the king, he's going to turn things upside down. In this culture, he'll turn things upside down in your life. And I'm going to ask you the question throughout this message, partly to tie the message together, but partly just to check and see if you're awake. I'm going to ask you the question, are you ready for the king? And if you are, just answer back to me, I'm ready. Okay, when I give you the cue and ask the question, then you can answer me back. Are you ready for the king? That's good. Well, for the Jewish person, reading this first sentence would instantly make them ask the questions, am I ready for the king? Could this be the fulfillment? Is this what we've been waiting for 2,000 years? The opening line says promises are being fulfilled, guys. Watch this. And then the emerging lines say even more. Notice the first set of names that are on your sheet now. These are the ones that are highlighted in navy. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Judah. The first three are known as the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And then Judah has some fulfillment that comes in for some promises that were given to him as well. Now, Abraham was the father of the Jewish faith. He was kind of the great-grand patriarch. Everybody traces their lines back to Abraham. Abraham had two sons, Isaac and Ishmael. Now, when the Messiah, the Christ, the prophesied one comes, he has to be of the lineage of Abraham. That's just part of the prophecies. But not only from the lineage of Abraham, he can't be through the line of Ishmael. For the promise to be fulfilled, it's got to go through the line of Isaac. So he's only got a 50-50 chance on those two things. Then you drop down a step further, and Isaac had two sons, Esau and Jacob. And in this case, the family line has to go through Jacob. It can't go through Esau in order for it to be fulfilled. Now, Jacob lived, a life that was kind of hit and miss in terms of honoring with God. One time he wrestled with God, and then he had his name changed. And do you remember what Jacob's name was changed to? It was changed to Israel. That's right. It means he wrestles with God. And then Israel, Jacob, had 12 sons, and those 12 sons became the 12 tribes of Israel. Each one had its name, Reuben and Gad and Issachar and so forth. But the Messiah couldn't come from any of those other 11 tribes. The Messiah had to come through the tribe of Judah. You guys may remember the phrase, the Lion of the tribe of Judah is something that's being talked about for the Messiah to come. And Judah is the tribe that he has to come through. There was a prophecy that was given to Judah from his dad on his dad's death, that Judah would be someone from the tribe of Judah would carry the scepter forever and ever. And the scepter is a sign of kingship. It's a sign of rulership, that he would be a forever king for the nation of Israel. So it had to come through the line of Judah. Now, a Jewish person picks up this lineage and he sees right off the top Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. He would go, okay, this is a good Jewish boy. And then he sees Judah, and all of a sudden you go, ooh, well, maybe he's that king that we've all been waiting for. Maybe he is the present that God has promised us that we would be able to unwrap someday. Now, in my family, one of the Christmas traditions that we have at my house is on Christmas night, Kelly and I actually wrap the doors of each of our kids with wrapping paper. We cover the door with wrapping paper so that when they wake up in the morning, the first thing that they see is Christmas wrapping. It's a sure sign that this is Christmas Day. And the kids will burst through the paper, like the Incredible Hulk, or, sometimes they'll be smooth and just kind of slide through a corner, or, other times they'll cut their way through. But one thing that you know for sure is when you wake up in the morning and there's wrapping paper over your door, it only means one thing: it's Christmas Day. Because we don't do that other days during the year in my house. Well, this wrapping paper is saying the same thing to the people of Israel. They're saying, guys, it's Christmas. Christmas is coming. That this Messiah that you've been waiting for, he's here. The king is coming. And when he starts going through Abraham and David, and then Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Judah, all of a sudden people are saying, should we be looking for the king? And then they ask themselves, am I ready for the king? And I ask you, are you ready for the king?